due to coming to... Hey guys, welcome to Topics. This video is the first in an ongoing series about fashion and life here in Paris. Today's video is about the visa process going from the US to France. I will be giving you guys my experience with that, and I'll give you important links down below. Now let's get started. I went to the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. I studied fashion design there, and about at the end of my junior year there, I found out about an exchange program that my school does with two different schools here in Paris, Studio Berceau and Chambre Syndicale. I applied for the exchange program and I was accepted. Now, when I was accepted, it was kind of crazy. Like it's like this life-changing moment, you know. I was in class and I've been checking my email every I don't know, every 10 minutes or something. I wasn't even paying attention to the lecture or what's going on. I was just I really want this, I hope this all works out. And so I was checking every 10 minutes on my email, just is it coming, is it coming, is it coming? So my class was about 6 hours long, and so in the middle of the class we had a break, a lunch break. I think it was about 10 minutes before, 20 minutes before that, I finally got the email. I got the email that I had been accepted to this exchange program, and I was literally in class shaking, oh my god, it's happening. That moment changed my life forever. I was going to Paris. That was something that I had thought about, and I was maybe someday it could work, maybe someday that could happen. But it wasn't something that I thought would happen then. And suddenly it happened, and it changed my life forever. So the first step of me coming to Paris was to get the acceptance letter from my school here in Paris. I went to the fashion school, Studio Berceau, and so I had to fill out the application for the exchange program for the school. I had to fill that out, and then I had to wait to get my acceptance letter. And that took a while because I had to fill out the application, and they were kind of saying that we might have to take a French test to see our aptitude in the French language. At this point, I was using Duolingo, I had taken a French class for one semester. I didn't really speak French at all. I had no real experience in speaking French, and so I was worried about taking this test. They kept telling us that you're gonna have to take this test to show where your skills are in the French language. Luckily, in the end, it wasn't actually required that we take that test, but they said that it would be a good idea, so then they could get an idea of where our French level was. I didn't take the test, but everything was okay. So I submitted my application, and then I got my acceptance letter almost immediately, super fast, and then I went about to apply for my visa. The process of applying for my visa, I had to go to a website called CampusFrance. I believe that's what it was called. I also had to check out the French consulate website for San Francisco. I believe that all the links are there in the website, which I'll provide down below in the description. On a side note, I lost my passport, so I had to get a replacement one. Luckily, the passport office is right there in San Francisco, and so I was able to do that whole process right there. If your passport is about to expire, you'll definitely need to have it renewed, because I believe they require your passport to have at least 3 years before it expires, and if you get a new one, it's for 10 years. So you're totally in the go if you get a new one. If your passport is going to expire soon, you'll definitely need to renew that. It cost me a bit extra because I had to have it as soon as possible. I'll link some information in the description below in the process of renewing your passport or getting a passport for the first time. So I had to submit my application on the CampusFrance website, and once my application had been processed, I was told that I can make an appointment for my visa at the French consulate there in San Francisco. My experience with trying to get an appointment for my visa was a nightmare. The French consulate there in San Francisco is completely booked out, the whole year. There were no appointments available. For about the next 2 weeks, me and the other 3 exchange students had to check the website for appointments. I mean, we were checking almost every 10 minutes, any kind of canceled appointment that we could all of a sudden grab a hold of. It was really frustrating. There was one point during those 2 weeks in which an appointment had popped up, and I was oh perfect, and I grabbed it, but it turned out that it was for the end of August, and I was leaving in the end of August. So I had to quickly like cancel that appointment. I was like, oh my god, I don't know, like, oh crap, like, is this gonna work? Like, can I actually cancel this? In the end, it was completely fine. So if you make an appointment, you can cancel it, and it's totally okay. That's not going to affect your ability to get a different appointment. There's no way of contacting the consulate if you have any questions. You try to email them, you won't get a response back, and there really isn't like a telephone number to call, so it can be quite frustrating. Their idea is that all the information that you need is there on the website, which can be really frustrating because there might be like specific questions that you have and you can't have them answered. Just realize that as long as you follow the process according to the website, it'll all work out. Another thing is that they do not expedite visas, and so if you need one like as soon as possible, it's not going to happen. They require that you start the visa process 2 months before you leave. About 2 weeks into the process of trying to get an appointment, Isaac, one of the other exchange students, had seen that like a bunch of appointments had opened up suddenly. So he contacted us. So there I was again in class, freaking out, shaking, trying to put all the information in on my phone, like, my friend's like trying to help me, and I'm all like, oh my god, like, what's my name? I don't remember anything, like, trying to put it all in. Finally, I was able to like secure an appointment. It was all good. So I had an appointment for the 27th of July, 2016. I got home from class, and I just like got all my paperwork together. I was like, I need this, I need this, I need that, put it all together, and I started to print out all the information that I needed. They have a list of every single document that you need, which I'll link down below, and it's important that like you put them in the proper order as well, because the order that they're listed is the order that they're going to ask for them. I will be linking the list of all the required documents down below, as well as all the French consulates in the US. Everything went really well. I brought all of my proper documentation, again, in the order that it was listed. I also dressed nicely, so I just wore like a suit jacket, some nice pants, some nice shoes. I think that it's important to dress nicely and dress presentably, because the idea is that you're trying to make a good impression as well. You know, it's the way in which you present yourself, and it's also your paperwork. So the reason why you want everything in that list, like put everything in order of that list, is because that's the order that they're going to ask for the documentation, and it'll also help to streamline it. So it makes it easier for them, helps streamline it. If you're dressed nicely and presentably, the likelihood of you getting your visa is higher. At least that's what I think. The visa that I was going for was obviously a student visa. The process for getting a work visa is totally different, and this video will cover only student visas. I'll do a video on work visas at a later date, because right now I'm in the process of getting my work visa. For the visa, I also had to provide my plane ticket to France, so you'll need to purchase your ticket beforehand. It's a little bit scary purchasing the ticket beforehand, because you don't know if you're going to be accepted right away or not, or how long the process is going to take, but it is required. When you get your visa, it'll be a large sticker that goes into your passport, and they'll place it in there. They will also give you a form that you have to fill out when you arrive in France. You will also have to mail it to the immigration office there, called OFII or OFII, within 3 months. Once I arrived in Paris, I had to find an apartment before I can mail it in, as they require you to give them your French address. Finding an apartment in France can be rather difficult for a foreigner, because you have to have a co-signer in order to get an apartment. Here in France, they require that you make at least 3 times what your rent is in order to not have a co-signer on your apartment. A website that I would recommend for English-speaking foreigners here is called Paris Attitude. The apartments listed on that website are a bit more expensive than average here in Paris, but it's a guarantee almost that you'll find an apartment. I will link Paris Attitude down below in the description, so you can have a look at that. Paris Attitude is a bit more expensive, and you also have to pay agency fees, but a thing to know is that there are 2 different types of residence here in Paris. One is a temporary residency, and the other is a permanent residency. So on Paris Attitude, they're automatically going to make it a temporary residency unless you ask for it to be a permanent residency. And if you ask for it to be a permanent residency, they have to do that. The agency fees are significantly less when you do a permanent residency. The experience of one of the other exchange students, she had no idea about this difference between the two, and because they automatically go with the temporary residency because it is more expensive than the agency fees, she had to pay about 2,000 euros for her agency fees, where the rest of us, we asked for a permanent residence, and I think we each paid about 300 to 400 euros, so it is significantly less to go with a permanent residence. I will also link below information about the differences between temporary residency and permanent residency. So my first apartment here in Paris was in the 8th district and cost me about 1,300 euros a month. My apartment was 22 square meters, but it had a laundry room, which is a rarity here in France. And what was nice was that was a separate room for laundry, and also I had a beautiful view of Paris. I came to find out later on that my apartment in that area was overpriced, and that an average apartment in that area of that size was about 950 to 1,000 euros a month. But I was stuck in my lease in that apartment for a year. So after that, I was able to find my apartment I'm living in now here in the Marais. It's smaller than that. It's 10 square meters, but I pay 620 euros a month. Something that really helped me to secure my apartment now was the fact that I had a history of a much more expensive apartment. You're paying more through Paris attitude, but in the end, it makes it easier for you to move into an apartment that is cheaper. So going with something that is a little bit more overpriced here in Paris definitely has its advantages in the long run. I will be doing an apartment tour here soon to give you guys kind of an idea of what student living is like here. The nice thing about apartments like this here in Paris is that you have the ability to live by yourself. In most cities, you're unable to live alone. You usually have to have roommates because the prices are so expensive, and they don't really have like apartments that can work for one person at like a low budget. Back on the topic of visas, after I sent in my paperwork, I got my paperwork back in the mail, and they had asked for a couple more documents. I'd also gotten a date for my appointment with OFII. At my appointment, I gave them my paperwork and my passport. I had heard that there are times when you have to have an interview with the Préfecture de Police, and so I was sitting there in the waiting room kind of freaking out a little bit, because at this point I didn't speak any French, and I was like, oh my god, like what if they interview me, like what am I gonna say, like I can't speak French, like they're gonna be saying things to me in French, I'm not gonna know what to say, what's going on. And so there is a probability, I think, that you will have to do an interview with them. There's also a probability that you might have to have a medical exam to make sure that you're not sick. So I was sitting there in the waiting room, waiting, freaking out, trying to figure out like what's gonna happen, like what am I gonna say, oh my god. And they called me back up to the front desk, and everything was good to go. They slapped a sticker right into my passport. This is called a titre de séjour. I'll put here, titre de séjour, and the titre de séjour serves as your long stay visa. I will link down below what a titre de séjour is and what it looks like. Your first titre de séjour will just be a sticker that they slap into your passport. Your second one will be a physical card called a carte de séjour. At this point, I had everything that I needed. Also, this process takes a very, very long time. I arrived here in Paris in August 2016, and after mailing in my paperwork and all the necessary information, and waiting for my appointment, waiting for everything to be processed and all of that, I didn't get my titre de séjour until February 2017. So don't expect this to be quick and easy. It's going to take a lot of time, and I think you should get it done as soon as possible. I cannot stress this enough. It has to be within 3 months of your arrival in France. This process is vital as it validates your visa. It can cause problems later on in getting a job if you haven't completed this process. So start it as quickly as possible the second that you get here. So as I said, this process is extremely important, and it needs to be finished. I've had friends who they thought, oh, I don't need to do this, and they didn't do it, and they've had a lot of issues. So it's very, very important that you complete the entire process. So for this video, I wanted to give you guys an idea what that process is like to get your visa to come to France. My next video will be about the renewal process and what that is like. My first renewal was easy because I was still a student, and I was getting a renewal on my student visa. Where I'm at now, I'm trying to get a work visa, and it's a way more difficult process. I'll probably be doing 2 separate videos, one on student visas and the other one on work visas, and the renewal of each. I hope you guys enjoyed my first topics video, and I hope that it's been helpful for you in your journey within fashion and coming to Paris. Be it that you're in fashion or not, I hope that this video has helped you to better understand the visa process as a student coming to France. I will link below all the necessary information that you need for your visa coming from the US to France, and I will also link all of the French consulates in the US. They each serve different regions in the US, so you will have to find out exactly which consulate you need to go to, but I will provide a link to all the websites of the different consulates in the US. Thank you for watching, and please leave a comment down below about your experiences with trying to get a visa to France, be it a work visa or student visa. I think it's a good idea to share each of our stories because each person's experience is different with trying to get a visa. Like there's a big difference between like me getting my visa and Alyssa getting her visa. Because like for me, they wanted all the information, all the paperwork, I had it all there. For Alyssa, she came in with everything and they asked for nothing. So the experience varies for each person, and I think that by sharing your comments down below, sharing your stories, I think that it can really help people to get a better understanding of what could happen, what might not happen, and so please leave a comment down below and like the video if you found this helpful. If you enjoyed my first topics video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, and don't forget to slap the notification bell so you can get all my updates every week. I have new topics videos coming out every Tuesday, and I have new My Life In videos coming out every Sunday. And again, go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below if you found this content helpful and resourceful, and I hope to see you guys again soon. Bye! And again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Bye, 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 bye.